Here's the new router table insert plate from Kreg, and I've got it in 3 different versions. 2 that are pre-drilled for a Porter cable router and a Triton router, and also one that has no extra holes at all, and you can mount any router on this one. A router table insert plate is a part that fits into a larger router table, and this is where you mount your router. It mounts to the underside of this plate, and then the plate itself slips into a larger router table for supporting your work. Kreg has this new version of its insert router plate, and it comes in 3 different versions. This version here has just the holes to mount the plate onto your tabletop and 1 hole for a starter pin, but it doesn't have any pre-drilled holes, so you can drill your own holes to mount your router to this plate. In addition, Kreg also has 2 other plates that are exactly the same, except they have pre-drilled holes to mount very popular routers. One for Porter cable style routers and one for Triton style routers. So let's go ahead and take a look at the router plates, some of the features, and then go ahead and check them out with the routers installed. The router insert plates from Kreg are all 3/8 inch thick phenolic, making them very sturdy and strong for hanging your router and supporting your router without bending. They come with insert rings here and a handy lock and unlock, so you no longer have to level your center rings. They simply slip in and lock with this handy tool. And to pop that out, pop this one out and put in a different one and lock that in. 3 that come with the plates: a 1 inch, 1 3/16 inch, which is a handy guide bushing size, and then a 2 5/8 inch ring, a large opening, which should handle most any large router bits. Now, this is the plate that does not have any pre-drilled holes. It comes with a little hardware pack for mounting the plate to your tabletop, and also a starter pin for freehand template routing that goes right there. And those are the only holes drilled into this plate. So to hang your router, you would go ahead and drill holes into this plate using a handy guide here on the back. Center your plate from your router in here, mark where you're going to drill through, and then countersink it, and then you can hang your own router, any router, from this plate. There are 2 pre-drilled versions. This is a Porter cable, same exact plate, except you see extra holes here for hanging Porter cable style routers. Other holes are exactly the same, plate's the same, comes with the same accessories as well. And then also a Triton for mounting Triton routers. 4 holes for mounting Triton router, access holes for above the table adjustments, and it also comes with the hardware pack for mounting the table, and also extra screws for mounting your router to this plate. I'm first going to mount the pre-drilled Porter cable plate to this router here. I've already removed the base from the router with the 3 screws, and it's just as simple as popping on the plate and threading in 3 screws. The Kreg router table insert plate, of course, can fit into any router tabletop, and there are instructions included in how to cut the correct size opening for the plate, but of course it fits beautifully into the Kreg router tabletop. You just pop it right into the opening, a very snug fit, and goes right in. There are levelers included with this tabletop to make the plate perfectly flush to the top, and then go ahead and put in the 4 screws, thread them in, and we're all set. Now, what's great about the Porter cable insert plate is that a lot of people already have a Porter cable router. It's a very popular router, and so you can get a plate and use the router you already have in your shop. The downside is that it's not great in router tables because everything has to happen now below the table. If I want to change my bit, I got to get these 2 wrenches up under this table, pop that bit out, and put in a new one. That's a real hassle. Also, to make adjustments, I've got to get up under here and make adjustments on the router from under the table, and fine-tuning that, can be a bit tricky. It's not the end of the world. It's pretty straightforward. If you're doing a few operations, no big deal. Putting in a bit takes 5 minutes or so, making an adjustment, a few minutes, not a huge deal. But if you're if you use a router table a lot and you're changing bits and heights a lot, using it for various operations within a project, that's where a Triton router can really make a lot of sense. If you want to mount a Triton router into a router table, you first want to remove a spring which assists you in the plunge action using it freehand mode, but we'll do the exact opposite when you try to hang this upside down. So to remove that spring, simply unscrew this screw a little ways first so that you can release the cap. Now hold on to the cap because there's a spring underneath it. Twist it counterclockwise, comes off, spring comes out, then put the cap back on, twist it in, and tighten the screw. Don't forget to keep track of where you put the spring. You'll want to put that back in when you use this in freehand mode. Gone ahead and unscrewed the screws for the sub base on the Triton router. You can pop that off. Now these screws are a little bit shorter than the ones that come with the new plate. So I'll use these little bit longer screws with the plate. So I'll pop the plate on. Now I want to make sure that the access hole for raising and lowering the router is over the correct location. And here's where that handheld screw will come down from above to access the height adjustments, and here's the hole. So I'll go ahead and make sure that I've got this in the right orientation so my hole is lined up above there, and I'll pop these screws in, 4 screws. Before I get them all the way in, I'll double check. I can do my height adjustments from above. Yep, got it in the right place. So now I'll go ahead and tighten those screws down. And of course, I'll thread the power cable through and the plate pops right into place in the router table, and then I'll just lock it down. Now, what's awesome about the Triton router is that you can make all your adjustments from above. First, I am going to reach under and put it in free plunge mode, which is pushing the button in, and I can raise the router all the way up quickly. And now I can go ahead and install my router bit here above the table. When the Triton router is all the way up like this for making bit changes, it automatically locks the collet. So all I have to do is rotate it, and boom, with one wrench, I'm tightened, ready to go. Now I'll simply free plunge back down a little bit to get it approximately where I want it to be. And now I can go ahead and make above the table adjustments to dial it in. I simply insert the handle here from above, make sure it goes down and locks onto the adjustment below the table. And now a simple winding, I can easily raise and lower my bit to the exact height that I'm looking for, and then I can just reach under and lock it in. Besides the 3 reducing rings that comes with the insert plate, you can also purchase another 5 rings, which gives you additional sizes, including a blank one that you could cut yourself for a custom size. And again, they simply lock in with the included tool. So that's the Kreg Router Table insert plate. It comes in one that doesn't have any extra holes in it, so you can mount your router's plate to it, figure out where to drill the holes to mount your own router to this plate. Or it comes in Bosch and Porter cable style for mounting, or the Triton router for mounting pre-drilled holes. So all that work is done for you. Just mount your router and go. You've seen the benefits of using the Triton router over other styles of router because you can make above the table adjustments. And when you're using a router table, let me tell you, making adjustments from above the table, changing bits, changing depth of cut, that's just awesome. So I highly recommend checking out the Triton routers to go with one of these plates or in a router table. Now, I'm all for building things in your own shop where it makes sense, and there's a lot of great plans for building really cool router tables. So I definitely would, if you're interested in building your own router table, go for it. I would still purchase a router plate to go into a home-built router table. And the reason is routers are very heavy, and you want something very secure to mount that router to. Not only are they heavy, and if you don't have the right support, it's going to sag with time. This Kreg Router Table insert plate is very thick and strong and probably will never sag. And the other thing is that routers spin extremely fast. So you want something really sturdy to mount that router to. And these router table plates from Kreg fit the bill.